Y'shtola, girl, let's go. Oh, not to worry. I had plenty of reading to keep me occupied while you were busy. Shall we continue? Yes, I'd follow you anywhere, girl. You don't have to follow me. I just like to hang out with Y'shtola. I don't know if I'm worthy of it. I mean, we've hung out with Y'shtola like a few times now. So I guess she's deemed us worthy, but like me as a real human being, I don't know if I'm worthy of it, but I can only hope, and that's kind of my dream. I know I can technically go through the shards with her now too, but I mean, if I can have her by my side, I'm just gonna go with her. You know, I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna take in the scenery. I'm gonna make fun of nerds, those book nerds back there. I assume that's what Y'shtola and I do. I don't know. Bully people. Channel step on me energy. Give disapproving looks that are tinged with a soft edge of fondness. That's probably it. That's probably it. That's the vibe. To our interaction puddle. Discuss the studium. I apprenticed to Master Montoya at the age of 7 and labored under her tutelage for a full decade. I never had the chance to attend the studium. Neither did Thancred, as I recall. Soon after Master Louis Swart took him in off the streets, he was put in the care of another Archon. His was a rigorous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. Espionage. I don't know why I said it that way. My fantasy British Y'shtola accent. It's taken a second to warm up here. I sometimes wonder what my life might have been like had I pursued studies here instead. I guess that does kind of explain a little bit more too why she feels just more removed or a little bit standoffish than a lot of the different Scions. Not that she isn't still friends with them, and obviously she shares a long history with them, but Y'shtola, as part of her personality, but also possibly because of some of this, that she was educated in an unusual way on her own. She's had to do a lot of things by herself, or, you know, just with her mentor, or that kind of thing. I think it explains a little bit of her personality for sure. Should I wonder as well? That's the awkward, too real, hits too close to home, small talk answer. I think I'm gonna go for this one. Tea at the last stand after a day of lectures. Oh, that does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends, sipping tea and debating theories. Still, I wouldn't give up my time with Master Montoya for the world. The dank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous, magical childhood nonetheless. Cute. That's like your mom, Y'shtola. We have literal mothers, and then we have mom figures abounding. This expansion. And I see this is no such exception. Am I going right? Is it up here? Yeah, okay. As it is now, we can hang out and have tea with Y'shtola, you know what I mean? Y'shtola can have a little tea as a treat. Can I also just say that Montichaigne can pull off a mermaid cut dress better than almost any older Ellison gentleman I've ever seen. He is. He's just on it. This man, I would like to imagine, joined and worked his way up to Archon just because he knew this cut would look so good on him, and I guess to also spread his knowledge and intelligence and foster the next generation of great thinkers, but I'm gonna say he was mostly in it for the fashion first. Aren't we all? It's an MMO, let's be real. Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What may I do for you? Pray, forgive my intrusion, Scarlark, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Numenon's restricted archives. Oh-ho! No furtive forays into the stacks this time, eh? Y'shtola's like, I can use magic, I don't have to use a step stool to get to forbidden books. I applaud this newfound sense of propriety. Yet in all this wide world of comparative serenity, what so compels you to disturb a vault of forbidden wisdom? Well, we gotta go find my new dragon girlfriend in the void. And it turns out that Istinian's current dragon boyfriend lost her a long time ago, but also there might, I don't know, be something we could do to help the void. Y'shtola and I have just been vibing. We went on a treasure hunt. Now we need to go down and do some more research so that we could theoretically tear down the walls between dimensions, worlds, or realities. How does that sound? Fascinating. Ooh. I had no idea such a technique existed. I would have been surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Daemir has lain dormant in Charlian's archives for many centuries. Centuries. The fantasy British today is just, it's a slow getting back into it, you know? My brain's been all over the place with so much other hype. And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void? That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? To develop a method of traversing the rift, for one, that I might keep my word to a distant friend. That's what we are. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world, and the echo of its future. And yet, I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to its very last secret. What scholar worthy of the name would enforce open a void gate or two if a grand revelation was the promised reward? Ha 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 ha! You're ridiculous, marvelous! I love it! An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and the wherefores, I, for one, do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request for the form's consideration. Thanks, it was the dragon girlfriend part that really sold you, huh? That the quest for never-ending, limitless education, knowledge, and discovery. Although, your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance. I was gonna say, Papa Fortuno, now that he doesn't hate us. Well, he never hated us, I guess, just he had other things going on. Why, Master Fortuno, of course. He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master Fortuno on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Oh, very well. We will pay a visit to the Leveilleur estate and plead our case. Oh, one last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager. So, if you could see your way to indulging an old man's curiosity... Of course, Skolak. We will be sure to pass on any revelations. We'll let you know how the dragon kissing goes. Assuming she's not super corrupted. Look, I just have not been able to stop thinking about Ashdaya since this revelation, this patch. So, pray forgive me, my own fandoms. That's what we'll call them. We gotta go all the way over to the estate, so we might as well this time make use of this. I don't think we have any other special places to stop before that, but we'll see. Montichaigne seemed optimistic, but I doubt convincing Fortuno to champion our cause will be as simple as showing up on his doorstep. Or maybe it will. Let's be optimistic about this. I have faith. I have faith. House Leveilleur Butler. Ah, Mistress Arden, Mistress Ishtola, how may I be of service? We've come to speak with Master Fortuno. Is he home by any chance? Yes, the master is in residence. I shall inform him that he has guests. Thanks, buddy. I do at some point really want a full-on tea time with all the Leveilleur family, plus Estinian, he can be there too, that'd be funny. Just everybody together. I need that. I need it in my life. Oh, how does Fortuno sound? Fantasy British, right? They're all fantasy British. Well, except for a few. And hey, Thavnir gave us some really good new ones. Some great new range of voices. We have some American voices in the English cast at least, but a whole lot of fantasy British. So very much of it. Well, well, Améliance would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss. Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. The Void. Picture it. The newest vacation spot of Eorzea. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Skarnak Montichaigne expressed much the same sentiment. I assure you, will not attempt to circumvent the form's authority again. Unless it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge? Sorry. I'm in a particularly sassy mood today. I came back to finish up 6.1 and I am in good spirits. But I immediately thought of Ron Swanson pulling out the note in his pocket that just says, I can do what I want, because that feels like a very good Ishtola move. But let's do what the actual text says. I'm gonna get myself together. For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend. A selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering. But the brother has given up on thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over a people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing of his heart. 'Tis no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones, good play, Ishtola, good play, and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation must be. Yeah, that's right, Fortuno. You got a big heart, it was just hiding in there. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation. We can do that, yeah. Easy. I love talking people's ears off, telling a good story, talking about my time in other dimensions, you know. Do not celebrate just yet. The Forum must still be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldessian Annex. See, Fortuno also looks good in a mermaid cut, but he doesn't pull it off quite as well. He just doesn't seem as at home in it. You know what I mean? Anything new to say? The matter is out of our hands. All that remains is to return to the Annex and await word of the Forum's decision. Then let's go do just that! Back to the Annex we go. Oh, wait. Okay, it's like it's right outside, so we should be able to still teleport there and not have to worry. I am so happy that I eventually realized in my original Endwalker playthrough that all of the additional conversational spots are marked with the red AoE, because I was very determined to just take every single escort around every single city before I knew better. Just to like wring any piece of extra dialogue and friendship out of them that I could with my grubby little adventurer hands. Oh, I guess we don't have... Oh, wait, there it is, there it is. Let's have a little more conversation. I always want to just like do a little dance when I come in here to change my glamour or something. It's a vibe, it's a jam. So, what did the forum decide? Oh, to put it bluntly, Master Montichaigne has burned some bridges here in Charlian and salted the earth for good measure. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their discontent. Then the chamber was reminded, in no uncertain terms I might add, of the incredible debt we owe to you and your companions. Yeah, we saved the world, so I hope that that would help balance out any social discomfort that Master Montichaigne has caused when she told people to their faces that they were idiots. Well, that served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you entry to the archives was the least we could do in return. That is wonderful news. Thank you both for speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I am sure you are aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is not to be treated with the, or is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it is not. I wish you well in your endeavor, and bid you good day. Oh, ever the same, that one. He's just upset I was commenting about how much better I look in my mermaid cut robes than him on the way over. Don't worry about it. Uncompromising, aye. But that very stoicism is exactly what Charlian needed to guide it through not one, but two exoduses. That is true. I mean, he's lived through difficult times. I've had time to sit with many of the characters from Endwalker. I drew out my playthrough of 6.1 as much as humanly possible as well, because I'm the kind of person, maybe some of you are like this too, who, when I know something's about to end, I delay finishing it for as long as possible. I'm the one that leaves the finale episode of shows unwatched, sometimes for years until the next season is announced. I'm the type of person that saves the last few quests of a patch until the new patch is upon us. And it's not always that I'm out of the loop, it's just that I don't want it to be over. So it's always kind of hard. And then I have to make myself try to record things in a timely manner. You know, it's a constant struggle. Maybe some of you can relate, or I think a lot of people, though, blast through everything as fast as possible. All of you who wake up at 3 a.m. or whatever patch releases, you are a far stronger sort than me. You are Fortuno level of just sheer dedication, determination, and desire, because I have the desire to play is strong, but the wake up before 11 a.m. is weak. Very weak. I need coffee, I need sleep, I need a good breakfast, then I'm ready to really get into it, you know? So I guess we all have our different strengths and weaknesses. Also, wow, speaking of which, for a second I thought that was... Sorry, okay. I was looking from the top, and then I looked down, and he's using the same face, and in my head, I just heard sloppy, just immediately. He had a fashion globe too. We got fashion globes for days. If I were but 5 years younger, I'd cast aside my lectern and my mermaid dress and join you on your adventures in a heartbeat. That went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk through the door. Our focus will be on finding House Damir's research notes, of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy. We will stay there as long as possible. Y'shtola, if anybody can draw out the amount of time that we have in a place, it's me. Speaking of strengths and simultaneous weaknesses, I'll make it take as long as you want so you can read as many books as you want, Y'shtola. I'd like to set out as soon as you're ready. Except, he even has the same hairstyle as Albert. I'm having such a flashback over here on the left. You'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume. You presume correctly. Then you'll want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It's been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section. Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help. Oh, it was my pleasure, believe me. May you find the knowledge you seek. And look good while doing it. Shall we? Y'shtola is now still accompanying you. So we need to go. Oh, we're actually going to the Numenon. Do we get to go down to the lower floors that we haven't been on yet? It would make sense because the restricted sections are usually down below, which is also why as you work your way down through Great Gooble, you end up in that last kind of area that has the Archon symbol on all of the restricted tomes, which is so fun. I love that detail in that dungeon. I'm in a sassy and singy mood today, so really everything is about the same as normal. Into the library we go. It's funny because on the media tour, there were a lot of parts that we got to preview that were, I think, really impressive. Beautiful. I was so stunned. I went through and did my best to try and do the zones and, you know, give some insights into lore without knowing a single thing because we weren't able to interact or do any quests or anything like that. But out of all of the places, I actually do think that it was here. It was the Numenon that actually really left me just speechless. I don't know, maybe because we saw it in the trailers and then actually getting to set foot in it, and it's so gorgeous and the atmosphere is so cool. And we've been waiting for so long. We have been waiting for so long at that point to be in Charlian, old Charlian, and I just felt, I don't know, it felt so magical. I spent way more time here than I probably should have. Hey, sightseeing point. To think the set of instructions I laughingly imagined may actually exist, but yalms away from where you found me napping. If I had known of Alzadal III's exploit sooner, I could well have saved myself days of research. Even a children's book might have pointed me in the right direction. To achieve the impossible, one must needs be flexible of mind and look beyond conventional wisdom. A lesson I had already learned, but clearly not taken to heart. We all have to learn things in many different ways. Come along, Arden. Numenon and its forbidden wisdom awaits. Really quick though, girl, let me get this sightseeing point. Because I always do it now in case I forget later. The pride of the studium and parent institution to the Great Gooble Library, this massive collection of scrolls and tomes is the largest of its kind. Knowledge from every corner of the world is collected here, and efforts to compile the Bibliotheca Historica, the ultimate repository of wisdom, is an endeavor without end. I can only imagine that given the rebuilding, right, and maybe there's more information about this in some of the other stuff, like the studium quests and things, but I can only imagine that given Idleshire and the colony that has sprung up there, given the peace, if you will, with Garlond and all sorts of other things. Sharlayan opening its doors more and everything that's happened since Endwalker. They have to go back or send a little offshoot at some point to the colony of Sharlayan, right? Or try to go and reclaim the tomes that still exist in Google. There have to be various expeditions and things to help rebuild that and connect with it again. I would not imagine they would just leave it there. Even though there are new people there and a new sort of culture and group that has sprung up in those ruins that combines goblins and all sorts of stuff, but goblins have their own really interesting kind of intelligence and technological thinking, and even though they are more kind of maybe a hybrid between scientists, tinkerers, as opposed to purely academic book knowledge, theoretical, right? They feel more practical. I think that that union between Sharlayan and the goblins and this shift to recognize the tribes has so many cool possibilities for so many parts of the world, but in particular, I really love the idea of what might spring up fully from the ruins there in Idyllshire. There's a lot of really fun stuff. I wish we could almost have like a second rebuilding of Idyllshire where we got to see even more rebuilt. Archon Ishtola and guest identified. Do you wish to proceed into the restricted archives? Follow me if you would. Watch your step, and please note that the use of naked flames is discouraged. Ah, dang it. I'm gonna put away the 10 candles I brought with me. We're really going down there! Ah, it's like in the trailer, the walking in the... you know? Isn't this the room? This looks like the room Graha was in, because we know he snuck down to the Forbidden Archives. And the Google music! This is so good.
If House Damia's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin.
I like the sheer determination Y'shtola says that with, as though we were literally about to face something like the End Singer, but we're really just about to hit the books and start the most intense, extreme, or even ultimate level research study night. I hope they're gonna bring snacks, although I guess we probably can't eat them around the books, but... As we do the dramatic walking up to a huge challenge, Warrior of Light walk. The Google music is so funky weird. It's a little area we can move around in. What? Oh, let me come back in here anytime I want to take pictures. I feel like they just had to start doing that after the outcry for the Royal Menagerie. All these places better be available. And the floor, the Sharlayan logo. It's so pretty. Ah, the Nautilus shell. I went into a little bit of theorizing pre-Endwalker in my Secrets of Sharlayan YouTube video. Not just about the tinfoil hat theory was that everything was all connected and the Nautilus was, because I did get very invested in that, but also just kind of theorizing about what various symbolism in Sharlayan and with ethereal studies and language and different things like that, tying it into even Final Fantasy as a franchise with representations of the live stream and all that kind of stuff. I just found that so fascinating, not to mention the way that they've worked in so many kind of Greek mythologies, mindsets, philosophies into the inspiration base, so that even if everything isn't one-on-one, spot-on, absolutely the explanation, it was really fun to, in that video, get to kind of dive into a little bit some of our own real-world thoughts on how we could even then possibly kind of interpret, or because I'm a big nerdy role player and I think you all know this at this point, also when you're like speaking about etherology and ethereal imagery and all kinds of stuff, or even down to why might we have Nautilus shells in our imagery of various places. There's a lot of reasons for it, both in the game lore, but also kind of as larger, I don't know, thoughts you can use in your own characterizations. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I still get excited anytime I see a Nautiloid. Like, a Nautilus. I get very excited. Okay, let's actually read some books, but this is good. Oh wait, no, first let's talk to Y'shtola. So many books I've yet to read. Yes, we are here for one specific volume. You needn't remind me. Untitled Journal. Oh, I hope this isn't the one. Hopefully they let me check out all the books. Today, in a world not my own, I met them. Is this the guy? Okay, so Moose is the one who told me about this. But there's actually, so if you follow through, there are these little tidbits of lore that tie together this story about this guy who fell in love with a void scent, and it eventually led to stuff a la, oh, what's the word? What is the name right now that I'm looking for? The piano music in the background is drowning out my thoughts. The manor. The haunted manor. One of you in the comments will get it. My brain in the moment is notoriously bad at dropping things. But the dungeon that we have in the manor with all of the succubi, right? There was this guy who was super into void set, and he chased his bliss so far as to get, I think he got killed by them, and he caused a lot of problems, all because he was thirsty for succubi. And I can't help but wonder if this is part of that, or if they're gonna bring that back with void content, because that would be the wildest callback ever. I would lose my mind. Hawk Manor, I think. Today, in a world not my own, I met the most beautiful void-born creature. Beautiful void-born creature. She was so unlike her ravenous brethren. Eyes blazing, not with hunger, but trembling, like a candle's flame threatening to flicker out at any moment. I wonder if she is even the proper word. Such distinctions seem inconsequential, insignificant, even. Gender transcends. I'm just saying, there's a lot more than we think. And non-binary is a whole new beautiful world. All that matters is the love I feel for this exquisite, transcendent being. Though you are super ridiculously tempted to read more, this does not seem to be the volume you are seeking. But there's probably a continuation of it somewhere on AO3. A weighty tome. In the year 1564 of the 6th astral... boy howdy, reading is hard. In the 6th astral era, the Amalja summoned Ifrit, their patron god. Accounts describe the being as a gigantic lizard-like being with a potent command of fire-aspected magics. If we consider that primal summoning is an act fueled by faith and prayer, it is unsurprising, if not expected, that the resulting deiform entity should manifest the appearance and powers with which it is attributed by its worshippers. What then might emerge from the ether should one who believes in an almighty omniscience attempt the same ritual? Would the scholar himself grace us with his presence? Some other embodiment of divine sagacity? I mean, yeah, right? That Louis Swad tried to do that when he summoned sort of and did successfully sort of summon the 12, right? And evoke the 12. I mean, yeah, it would just take on probably the aspects that had been most represented as a general image, right? I guess kind of like, not exactly though, but kind of like what we did with Eden raids, right? Where everybody always memes on the Warrior of Light having a really terrible memory, but I almost personally viewed it as the things that stood out the most in the Warrior of Light's memory from those encounters, which then translated through emotion and other things into these sort of more abstract or slightly different versions, as opposed to the versions of those original primals that are summoned directly from the fervent prayer, faith, belief, and obviously flawed summoning rituals we know now. But it feels as though there would be kind of more of an abstraction in a sense, although if they had really set imagery of those entities, then probably that would direct it more. Could this man-made god truly be all-knowing? And if it were, whence would such knowledge arise? I myself have many questions concerning the nature of the ancient world. With no spell to transport me back to the days of old, could I instead summon a being possessed of encyclopedic knowledge of every age? Yet, with no means to verify its pronouncements, how could one be certain they were true? Also possibly interesting in regards to the Warring Triad, because we know that they were gods worshipped by, theoretically, entities in Mericidia, right? As I think through. But were they summoned in the likeness of their actual creators or not? I don't know. That is interesting, though. If you were to summon an entity that supposedly knew everything about all of time and history, would what they told you be accurate? Would, because you yourself pictured them to have that knowledge, would they then transcend space-time existence to have it? Alexander seems to have, you know, knowledge and control of time. Now I'm deep in the theories. Or would it be that they themselves were creating a facsimile of knowledge based off of what you yourself or current living beings knew, and that their actual sort of historical recountings wouldn't be true? I don't know, put your theories in the comments. The following pages detail an advanced method for manipulating rift-spanning apertures as devised by Nidhana. Yes, the ninth patriarch of House Daemir. There we go, there it is. We present these research notes to the faculty of Charlian Studium as both a token of our friendship and an expression of our boundless admiration. You appear to have located the forbidden volume you seek. Perfect. Down we go. Have you something you'd like to show me? Oh, have something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies, I flipped open but a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Hand over. I found it. I also read some very interesting void-set literature. Well done, Arden. I think you may have found our prize. Ooh, that is a pretty cover.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Daemir's resonance many times at the Great Work.
This is, okay, sorry, this is a totally... Welcome to Big Nerd Hour, which actually is perfect with us being down here with these characters in the archives. One thing I thought was really fun recently, and this may have been even in other crafter-gatherer stuff, I don't know, because I haven't done a whole bunch of it up until recently, but I was annotating a few notes on ethereal ink and how it's made. I think it's actually made from an ink squid, at least what they use for students in Charlian because of the custom deliveries. And the fact that it is ink that, kind of like electricity, is highly conducive in water, from my understanding. It's almost like that, in that there are certain inks or certain types of things that are more conducive in ether, so that when you are inscribing things like arcane rituals, there is almost an actual element of putting ether into the ink or into those inscriptions, which I assume would also tie into stuff like the actual books that we have for Arcanists, Summoner, Scholar, right? Where they are more than just symbols on paper and they actually carry sort of ether in them. So I wonder if the book itself kind of has that same resonance, and that it would be distinctive to those who had a sensitivity to ether, because they would be able to identify like a shared commonality in those who had inscribed the book, or the, you know, enchanted it, or protected or put magic on it, I guess, if you were trying to keep other people from just reading it, or possibly even the actual inscriptions and magical arcane sigils you put into it, which I think is a fun kind of detail.
Time to see what all the fuss was about.
I guess. Kind of an interesting serpentine figure with like little chicken feet on the front there. I'm not sure what it is. A peacock? Hot Pockets!
Among the ranks of the Void Sent,
Hot
there
Pockets.
exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard.
I always personally call them Hot Pockets. Also, I wonder if this is like actually a page from the lore book. I'd have to go look at it because there are Void Sent pages that had a lot of details
From
about
its
Void Sent in them.
distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures. A talent which sorely tested the Radiant host in its battles against these abominations.
Can you climb in through one and end up in the void?
Surmising
make
that the
different
entity
flavored Hot
itself was
Pockets?
acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings revealed that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate.
Does a person have to become a channel for this gate?
Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial Atomos.
Are we making more simulacrums, except this time they're gonna be they're gonna be sheep instead of pigs? I guess they're probably a little bit different. Technically, Varshan is a simulacrum, so I wonder if he might end up infused.
How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon Void Sent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales.
I mean, we fought a lot of them.
And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want people making fake Atomos and letting more Void Sent in. But Black Mages also, theoretically, I mean, some of them, not all of them, and obviously our playable version doesn't summon Void Sent or create rifts, but they have knowledge of how to do that in the past too, which Y'shtola, I guess with her Black Mage sort of training, although she also had some white magic-y kind of conjury stuff earlier on in the game, she would have a good understanding of that, and or I guess what the limitations would be in regards to us traveling through things like that rather than just making like a portal to fetch, you know, a Void Sent through.
It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for.
You mean I have? Y'shtola, it's cool. I'm glad you got into your book. I'm actually not bitter about it.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves.
I mean, I'll stay if you stay.
Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
Oh, we'll try and get you back here someday, don't worry. Also, I have a feeling that this little mammoth would be a tattletale. I don't know, there's just something about him that looks like a snitch. And the door's shut. That was fun. They're probably not gonna let us go in there to take pictures, huh? Because canonically, lore-wise, it's like a place we're not supposed to go all the time. Get a little sip of your water while we have a second. Well, maybe he'll let you back in. Congratulations on locating the object of your search. Please move along. As much as I would love to start crafting the Atomos, I'm afraid this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a Hannish alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daemir project. Our business here is concluded, for the moment. Please pass on our regards to the form. Your message will be conveyed. Should you wish to indulge in more forbidden literature, I will be here. Patron mode disabled. Security mode engaged. If anyone can help us, Nidhana can. I say we return to Thavnair and look for her at the Great Work. Yes, let's go hang out with Nidhana again. Okay, so we need to travel across. Oh, you know what? Whoop, nope. We need to go to the Great Work. We can get there way closer. Where? Oh, she's right here. She is just right here. That's convenient for me. All these sallow, sleep-deprived faces, but their eyes still burn with fiery zeal. Some things never change. I'm going to try and get Nidhana's voice down again. It's been a hot second. Ishtola tells me you are pursuing a most fascinating study, and that you want me to be a part of it. I have no doubt you will be interested. This research log should speak for itself. Will it now? By the sisters! This is the house! The mark of House Daemir! I never even knew such a work existed. Few should. It was sequestered in Numenon's restricted archives, after all. It was? But that means every word within is forbidden knowledge. A forbidden tome filled with forbidden research, and you put it right into my unsuspecting hand. I can hardly wait to read it. I like how Arden's like, yeah, forbidden knowledge. Yeah. To think that Daemir were developing such marvelous techniques so long ago. How many innovations have been lost over the centuries, I wonder? Now that you've glanced over the notes, what say you to helping us build a new Mark Atomos? I say yes! 1,000 times yes! Work on a Daemir project that had even the redoubtable scholars of Sharlayan trembling in their sandals. No alchemist of the Great Work could resist. You are a woman after my own heart. Oh, I suppose I should ask, what do you mean to do with this big-mouthed simulacrum once we've built it? Just gonna pop on through. Gonna climb right on in it. That's how I'm assuming this is gonna work. But probably they'll make it cooler, like its mouth will expand and then an actual portal will appear as opposed to us shoving ourselves Hildebrand quest style into it and our legs and butt sticking out as soon as we get like eaten by it. That doesn't seem as maybe composed. So, there's a secret void gate, and it's sealed in the ruins at the bottom of the bounty. Today is a day of revelations indeed. If the purpose of our man-made Atomos is to expand this hidden portal, then I will need to see it for myself, I think. Manipulating rift-spanning apertures is not the sort of thing you want to attempt without first taking into account every single factor. Then by all means, accompany us to the vault. I plan to lead us back there shortly, once we've finished gathering the components I require. Charlian's markets provided the raw aquamarine and pure water crystals, but I might need help obtaining a small quantity of astrally infused water. For such a liquid, you need go no further than the Font of Maya. The ascetics of old once favored the place for their meditations, and the water which pools there is now known to enliven the flow of ether. That sounds perfect. If you would be so kind as to fill a flask at the pool, I will petition Vrtra to join us. The idea I have in mind won't amount to much without his authority to command the Void Gate. Shall we be about it, then? We meet back here anon. So the Font of Maya actually does have a kind of magic property to it. I was wondering, because it's there's a reference to Maya, and in the lore video that we did, I kind of went into what that could possibly be, but other than being a part of the sacred sites that are through there, which we know there are still people who tend and pilgrims who sometimes make journeys to, although much of the actual temple sort of religious, I guess if you want to say that, center has been moved to, oh, what's it called? In the moment, of course, my brain's gonna elude me again. I have to check my lore notes that I have, but it's been moved up, I believe, to the north, to where we were for the dungeon, right? And that's also where the hippos come from, which is so fun. I love that. But that part of the island is more kind of the current maintained, or it was before all the fires and terrible things in Final Days, although it's been pretty destroyed at this point. So this kind of region, while it was once a really big temple complex and still has religious sites that are tended, isn't as active of a site. So I was curious because we don't necessarily get to hear about or see how all of these sites were relevant, be that culturally, religiously. Just from little tidbits here or there and some of the stuff in the main story quest or the prayers. So it's interesting, it's cool that this water here has that kind of property. I think we said astrally infused? Astrally dense pocket, yeah! I wonder if there was a pond here that, for whatever reason, be it with the alchemists of Thavnir and all that kind of stuff, became a site like this, and then they built this whole complex around it because the water was magically infused, or if it was built first and then the water was charged somehow, or I wonder what the sort of, I guess, process of that was. Okay, we got some dense water. This whole place is so pretty too, though. I just love it. Statue's so cool. Oh, it's just so good. Okay. Back to the great work. It's very foggy right now. Thavnir seems pretty heavily influenced by, I mean, everywhere in the whole world of reality is also influenced by this, but by the natural resources and things that were around. We just passed the Pisaka, or Pishaka? I'm not sure. I don't actually know if I've heard them pronounced in the game yet, but even they have sort of formed, I would assume, various parts of alchemy, but the scales that they grow have precious metal in them, I think? Again, I have to double check my notes, but I wonder if part of why alchemy became such a big trade in Thavnir was because of the fact that they had a plentiful amount of resources that were unique in properties or magical properties, and that they kind of developed this art form using them, because we do know they also use a lot of different plants and things on the island as well, if you've done some of the tribe quests and things like that. Our Stola requested that I join you, but of her plan she offered scant detail. Oh, I forgot to mention. The Font of Maya attracts aggressive wildlife, and you should watch out for them when, you go there next time. Oh, my apologies. It's fine, nothing happened. We're good, actually. Estinian's here! He was hiding in this chocobo! The boy Merad was glad to hear the news of the Foundation. It means a new life for him and his sister. Aww. Do you have that flask for me? Right here! Yes, this should suffice. Thank you, Arden. I don't need any of these. We'll just grab anything. Yeah, that's fine. Look who I came across. Estinian seemed in need of diversion, and we, in turn, may have need of his lance. Right then. Now that our little party is assembled, let us make our way to the ruins. Will we have need of Matya's boat again? Not this time. Once Ishtola informed me of our destination, I arranged for a vessel to be made ready at Akyali. Your Excellency is ever the gracious host. Shall we? Tiny little dragon boy! Tiny little thousands-of-year-old dragon in a tiny puppet body. Okay, also Doll's Legacy. It's kind to halfway. We'll go to Yedlymod. We'll go to Yedlymod first. 'Tis likely not needed with Varshan along, but I held onto the map against the chance we might return to the ruins. Onto the boat, if you please. We can chat on the way there. You need not keep your weapons close at hand. The Guardians will not attack if I am present, so I pray you, leave them be. I mean, I just always keep my stick with me, so... A ship is yours to command. Ah, thanks. We said sail at once. Oh, this is so exciting. Azadal's legacy. To see the truth of a legend with mine own eyes. All aboard for the treasure vault. Proceed! This has been a good patch, though. I feel like I've said that nonstop. Every time I get a moment, this has been good. This has been a good patch. It's just that sometimes, right? The patch cycle leading up to an expansion, some of them can be mind-blowingly exciting, super emotionally devastating, or just kind of a, oh yeah, okay, well we got some more information, we kind of have an idea of the momentum, there's probably some little tidbit in there that's, you know, intriguing, but they aren't always, every single one's not a banger, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get one and you're like, well that forwarded what we needed to be forwarded, maybe not my favorite, but it was good. But this one has been so good. I feel as though we've really forwarded the world, we've gotten a greater understanding of lore, we've gotten some really great character moments with Y'shtola, which I'm so happy about because, again, like I mentioned, I just felt a little bit as though we didn't quite get as much time with her in the actual expansion. She was there and we had time together, but we got such great little character scenes with everybody else. It's just been really fun. It's been nice to see and have a little bit more with that and this additional lore. And a new dragon on the table, possibly, unless she's been corrupted, which is possible, but we'll see. He laid waste to them ere I could utter a single word. I thought we cleared this place of constructs the last time we came through. 'Twould seem a few stragglers remained. Poor Vrtra. He really should have spoken with the Styrian before we left. I shudder to think what we've cost them in terms of construct materials. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna actually, I mean, we're probably just gonna open the portal wider, right? Or get started in the process? I cannot imagine.
The ruins alone were impressive enough, but I never dreamed such a treasure lay hidden in the depths of the bounty.
Oh, I love her voice actress, she's so good.
It may have been helpful to know this device existed, Your Excellency.
Vrtra's like, well,
My
yeah.
apologies. The gate was a secret I shared with none but my closest advisors. I feared for what might happen should those with ill intentions learn of its existence.
But we all have to have faith in one another now. It was probably a good move at the time, though, because the world was in a real, rough state. She has water in a crystal.
What is it you're doing now?
Is she gonna make another one of the... Because in the dungeon, if you take her and you find out that in Montichaigne dungeon, you find out that the water construct was made by her when she was a child. Like, is that what's about to happen? But I joked about another creature like the Porksy being involved in this, but I actually thought they would make something more serious, but maybe I was just very wrong.
There's something I wish to verify.
Okay.
The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk becomes significantly greater.
Okay. Maybe putting a little bit of tension, worries, additional stuff in the mix here for us. If we end up ever going to the void for a whole expansion, that would be kind of
Grant has
nerve-wracking.
theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. but I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
That's probably a good move. I mean, there's also all the research that's happening on the first about the Void, though, so they should combine some notes here. We should be ferrying between these. Although, if a warding skill does work, it would mean that a dragon, probably at least for a good amount of time, wouldn't have instantaneously been corrupted.
This is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale?
Sidian's like, I didn't come here to go to school. Ah! Say nothing! Look meaningfully at Estinian! Oh, this is tough. Arden's definitely a little sassy. A little secretly sassy. A little cause problems on purpose. Very intelligent, but I kind of feel like Arden would just look over at Estinian and see if he can put it together. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Say nothing and look meaningfully at Estinian.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Surely you'd not expect me to wriggle through that tiny portal.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I would.
We needn't attempt anything so drastic. A small familiar should serve
Yeah,
well
I'd
enough.
toss the city in it. See what happens to him. Bring him back.
Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow.
A little imp summon.
Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same.
Imp being the void scent that oftentimes comes through fissures and is fine because of its size and shape, etc.
I hadn't wanted it to come to this, but no other familiars will do.
Oh my gosh, she's totally gonna make it, isn't she? Alright, girl, you make your cute little funny water boy. You do it. She's standing so epically, though. I need a statue of her in that pose with the, like, sway, and she's looking down.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
Don't worry, Estinian.
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow
So
and
pretty.
life be born.
The sound effect is really good. This is a super magical girl, and I am so into it.
Water, water, froth and foam!
I'm sorry, what? Wait! What was that at the end?
Your arms.
What?
I fear she's been possessed.
It's really good and really magical, girl. Sparkle magic was the very last part. What happened? Okay. Alright. I was just thinking before that in my head, I was like, oh, I really love when they show us magic rituals because we don't always get to see them, and that's one of the things I really liked with Kane Seta when we saw her do her dance on the water that uses some of the Yuna stuff. I love when they actually show us incantations and magical evocations, because so much of the time we're kind of just feeling that in ourselves or using our own, the animations from the game, right? But we know magic has a lot of other things like runic sigil stuff. We know that it has inscriptions. We know that it has incantations. We know that it has all this stuff, but I got really distracted in the moment by the very last line there. Maybe she was possessed.
Oh, come now. That was adorable.
It's pretty cute. It's pretty cute. Yeah, even Vrtra thinks it's pretty cute. Ishtola. Is she embarrassed? You're perfect. You could still crush me without so much as a second thought. Any day you could crush me.
Though not my first choice. These familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate.
The way she's slouching.
I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual.
Y'shtola, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Well, okay, I've seen some pretty cute stuff. This is very high up there, though, and adorable. And tiny little babby Y'shtola trying to be really serious with the first half, and then doing this cutesy little line at the end. That is everything. That's everything. That's so cute, though. She's so good. Y'shtola, I love you.
In any case, these two should serve as well. This one will bear a warding scale.
Can we go back? Can we really fast replay it? Can we just replay it really quick? I like that the warding scale has Vrtra's eye on it, which is also kind of imagery that we see all over the city.
We can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption.
And it's kind of like the evil eye that we see a lot, which is really interesting.
If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
He's still just completely in shock.
Of course.
It's okay. It's all right.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nidhana safe from harm.
We are all allowed our own, you know, multifaceted personalities. We don't have to all be serious all the time. We probably weren't born intense and crushing people beneath our heel, you know?
You had best be on your guard as well.
I will be. Froth and Foam.
Oh, are you volunteering to join the Nixies? I could shrink you down, you know.
That's okay, I love it when she bullies me. It's fine. It's good. I'm still finding... this patch has been a work in progress in finding Arden's voice. I'll get there. It's not as easily distinctive as what I had been doing for Valka's voice.
Into the void.
Although I suppose I could still use something like that if I really wanted to, you know. We'll play with it. We'll continue to play with it. Amazing. Nidhana's like, bye cuties, see you later. Vrtra's like, I made myself a whole tiny Aura body, like a human-y Aura body. I could have just sent water boys in there. Alright, well. Is there gonna be like a little encounter here? I feel like there is, right? A little solo instance. Every time I come here, it reminds me of that dark portal above the Crystal Tower, and the final lash of Asdaya's tail as she plunged into the void. I struggle to picture Y'shtola as a little girl. Easier to believe she sprang fully formed from one of Master Martoyal's cauldrons. We need to wait for a time to ensure meaningful results. Be patient, and keep watch for any intruders. Sisters, save me! I will never see Y'shtola the same way again. Froth and Foam, indeed. I'm gonna carry that with me forever. That was perfection. Perfection. Maybe one of the biggest highlights of the patch, I'm not gonna lie, it was very good. It was very high up there. My own personal feelings, very high up there.
I think we've waited long enough.
Okay, bring him back.
Nixies, return to my side.
What if they just don't come? Oh, no, they're fine. Well, one's got a little sink on him. Oh, one's got a lot of stink on him. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's not good. Probably the one that didn't have the scale. Oh my gosh, what did you do to this poor little boy? Their little animation as they wiggle, so cute. Such devastation.
Thank you, little one. You did well.
Disperse that poor boy before he has to suffer any longer.
Poor thing. Its essence has been irrevocably warped.
I mean, yeah, it's the void. The void is pretty well flooded. Closed, closed, closed!
We're out of time! I must reseal the void gate.
What is not gonna happen, right? There's gotta be a little fight here, but what's gonna come through? That's what I wanna know. Oh, it's a bunch of imps! Coming through! Get my adventurer stick out, let's go.
In the name of Alzadal III, I bar this door unto the void.
Okay! Maybe no solo duty instance. But it seems like it's fine. Seems like it's okay.
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
Poor Nidhana, she has seen so much. She has been through so much since we met her. So much.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
But we could theoretically go in now with scales. It's confirmed. At the very least, we
The
assume...
unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidhana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent.
We don't know how long the scale would protect us, though, but it does seem like it
The
would,
one
right?
merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium. Rest now, little ones.
Yeah, go ahead, set them free. Set those poor little blobs free.
Graha's theory was correct then.
I mean, it all makes
So it would
sense, right?
seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation.
Oh.
It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently.
I mean, given
We may need to
how
modify
warped
the
the
warding
world
scale's
is.
design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
I mean, we only saw it in a Peaksea in the Crystal Tower raids.
Ah, my apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives. The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness.
I love that I mentioned during my Endwalker playthrough, but I love that they included so many kind of recap things. I think for a lot of us, we'll know a lot of this, but over time, I mean, even the way that they relate to those things or how they want to use those things or frame what's happened or earlier lore in the game, it changes, right? And there are a lot of people too who, you know, maybe only recently got into the story or blasted through it once and haven't played it for years or came back or whatever it is, right? So to have these kind of little recap moments, I think is really good, even if it feels a little bit redundant for players who might be really familiar. Also, the World of Darkness music, I'm pretty sure that's the one. It's so good.
In
Playing in the
Emet-Selk's own
background.
words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void.
But maybe we can save it.
You remember Unakalhai, the unusual child we met during our troubles with the Warring Triad. He explained the fate of the 13th thus.
I'm so glad they're not, sorry, I'm so glad they're not forgetting what happened over on the first and the characters that they brought back in there because they seem so important. And I was worried for a second that they just, I don't know why I was worried. 14 never does this. They always bring together all the things that they've set up in really amazing ways. So I don't know why I was worried, but it felt so clearly divided at this point that they hadn't referenced them or anything until now.
The champions of that ill-fated world used a stone known as auracite to contain the power of primals. But those self-same heroes were gradually corrupted by the auracite's bleeding energies, transforming into fiends with an endless hunger for ether. By the time anyone thought to oppose them, Light's strength had grown too feeble, and the balance of the 13th tipped into eternal darkness.
So they, like, harnessed the powers of primals in various auracites then.
It was Elidibus, as I recall, who rescued Unakalhai's spirit from his final battlefield.
No.
But I wonder if there were others whom the emissary saved from oblivion.
I mean, we know there's a few at least, right? Yes, exactly. The barmaid / Ardbert's companion. Ardbert's companion. The elven woman.
Silva? The adventurer who traveled with the Warriors of Light? And you say she was another of Elidibus's pawns?
Yeah, and she had a really cool wolf form too, which was great. Super cool, although she did, like, contribute to a lot of the things that led to the fall of the first, so it's
I see.
she's on her own redemption arc right
Cielo,
now.
or rather Silva, was beguiled by the same dreams of heroism as Unakalhai. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition?
Big lady. I mean, we saw a lot of stuff. In Crystal Tower and then also later.
I can picture it now. The sunless Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
Sounds dangerous, let's go.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
I mean, it's gonna have to be dealt with at some point.
Worry not, great Vrtra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way.
Doesn't that feel like you can see Yoshi P and like the whole team just speaking directly to you? Yes, 100%.
But first I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos.
Oh, I can't wait for all the adventures with everybody to come and all of you. It's gonna be so good. Oh, it still doesn't feel real that we have finished Endwalker, you know. It doesn't feel real that the whole Heidelin Zodiac trajectory is done. And yet it also feels so real after everything we experienced. I just can't wait. I can't wait to see everything else and go to all these other places. And we know the world is so big. There's so much they can do.
Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives?
He's deep in his feelings right now. Oh,
Your
look at the
Excellency?
poor sad boy. No, sad boy.
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
Why are you so thoughtful?
We will see you back in the city then.
Oh, I hope we get a moment with him. Okay, we are gonna get a moment with him, I think. No, oh! Or not. His little tiny tail's so cute, though. I love the little, like, Auron children tails. He's not actually a child, right? He is just a simulacrum that was made small to fit through a tiny void hole. But it's still cute when you see, like, the little Aura models, or even, gosh, little Mikote. Seeing the void's terrors firsthand was an experience, but I doubt fear of such creatures is at the root of Vrtra's hesitation. One once Nidhana succeeds in replicating the Mark Atomos, this door into the 13th will be ours to open. I know it's Atomos, right? I've always said it Atomos. Will you be crossing the threshold alongside us? I realize this is more my endeavor than yours. To be honest, I have no interest in visiting the void myself. Might we discuss this later? There is something I must do first. What you gonna do? Why does everyone insist on being so secretive? I, at least, had good reason for not wanting to explain my Nixie ritual. Shall we proceed with other preparations, then? As we saw, the warding scale can be effective at protecting the bearer from other sources of etheric corruption. Nevertheless, the talisman's durability will need to be improved if it is to withstand the void's influence for a prolonged period of time. And I think that is a problem we can address without involving the brilliant but busy alchemists who created it. Who do we know who excels at this kind of structural augmentation? The Elegant! Garlond Ironworks, right? Garlond Ironworks. An excellent suggestion. As I recall, Sid himself is no stranger to the void and its volatile energies. With his experienced hand at the helm, I have every confidence that the Ironworks can strengthen the warding scale. Come, let us visit their operation in Ronga's Reach and commission their best and brightest. We're just bringing it all together. Okay, I really thought we would have some kind of little duty instance there or something. That felt like such a perfect moment to be like, fight back the waves of void sends. I wonder if we'll have any of those this patch. I mean, it's funny because we aren't getting multiple dungeons anymore with the patches, which is both nice but also a little sad because on one hand, I liked when we would get kind of the hard mode dungeons, if you will, or those additional ones. They didn't have to always tie them in directly to MSQ, so it wasn't always constrained by, and now we have some kind of romp we have to script in, but it gave us, I think, a little more variety, especially for expert roulettes, and also I'm just a sucker. I just really, really, really enjoy very much. Wait, hold on. Sorry, give me 1 second. I just personally very much enjoy the extra content and getting to have those kinds of adventures. I mean, they definitely brought us here instantly for the quest, but I had a moment where I was just going, how did I get here? Did I accidentally teleport here? Perhaps this young man can locate Sid for us. Arden, what brings you to the Ironworks? We have a commission for you and your president, actually, assuming he's available. Master Sid? Oh, certainly. I'll see if he has a moment free. Hey! Myself and this beautiful pink Hrothgar are going at the same story pace. I want to like pat them on the shoulder. Hey. See ya. A pleasure as always. I hear you have a job for us? We do! Heading into the void to find a lost dragon. That sounds almost pedestrian compared to your last adventure. Honestly, I don't know if you could say anything that would surprise me after a Medion and that bloody mess. Just you wait. We'll put that to the test someday, Sid. Alright, let's take a look at this talisman of yours. You said there were signs of degradation. That's what Y'shtola tells us. It seems some manner of corrosion has set in around a scratch on its surface, much as the void's corruption seeped into Nero through his wounds. In which case, our best bet may be to simply prevent the scale from being damaged in the first place. And how might we achieve that? We have a coating agent for strengthening trinkets and the like, but I'd be wary of applying any compound which might upset the scale's delicate alchemical balance. far safer to dress it in armor. Just like a little tiny armor set. You know, just put a little helmet on top. What if we put in a little tiny doll, then we put the little tiny doll in a set of armor, and then we strap it on in a baby sling to the front of us, and then we do the whole next expansion like that. Oh my gosh, it would be exactly like I envisioned it, and that led me. Next expansion, you heard it here. We're going to the Void. The Void and all the new mechanics of the expansion are going to be Death Stranding, but Void Stranding. We have a weird little alchemical scale armored baby strapped to the front of us, and we're gonna have to deliver packages until we finally get to deliver one to the dragon, and that's gonna be it. And that's gonna be the end. And then we'll get Ashdaya, and it'll be fine. And there definitely won't be any like really weird trippy dream sequences or bizarre stuff that happens. By that I mean there will be a lot of it. So many of those. So many. And I think I'm kind of into it, honestly. I'm down for this. We'll construct a protective casing, now that you're done with that little side rant you had. One utilizing metal alloys with high ethereal conductivity, so as not to impede the talisman's primary function. A suit of armor, as you said. Nero has compiled data on the 13th, so I'll have him pitch in with the design just to be sure. If only it weren't such an ordeal to convince him to follow our safety protocols. I swear, I've never had such a reckless employee. In any case, we may need some time to untangle the particulars. Understandable. We know how busy your schedule is, and the final result will doubtless be worth the wait. Ha! The hard part will be ducking Jessie and her constant barrage of demands while we sneak about doing the fun stuff. We'll see what we can do. Yay, friendship everywhere! I think we can leave the rest in Sid's capable hands. Let's return to the great work and see how Nidhana is getting along with the Markotomos. Atomos. Like Atomos? Atomos. It doesn't matter. You all know what I'm saying. I believe in you and your abilities to understand the words I'm using. Although sometimes, with how I speak, I would not blame you. Sometimes when my brain reads things horribly, or I'm just saying a word and then I forget how to speak words and I just do a little gobbledygook for a second, or I completely forget the name of something I've said 1,000 times, and then I have to start describing it in weird abstract ways. So all of those things, in those cases, I would understand if you had no idea what I was talking about. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about, let's be real. Down here, let's talk to Nidhana. I wish we could go through the entire facilities of the Great Work. I want to see everything. I want to like look in every single room. I want to see where they all sleep. Just for not weird purposes, just because I'm curious. Oh, I just noticed the cute little elephant.
Hey, Stola. The adjustments are going well, I hope.
The hangers for the banners, they have little elephant motifs. That's adorable.
'Tis a lengthy process, but the end is in sight, yes.
That's wonderful news. I myself had some good fortune searching through the Satrap's private records. What I found was a transaction log dated around the same period as when Alzadal's legacy was built. It included a purchase list of highly exclusive alchemical components. And I knew I'd discovered the key to making the artificial atomos.
How much you want to bet that Nidhana also found, like, the Satraps? Vrtra is... I guess there's difference, right? Satrap was a figurehead, but passed, but technically now the new Satrap... never mind. I was gonna make a joke about how, while she was going through those, she found Vritra's personal journals, and in them there was a thing about, like, a dashing new dragoon came to Thavnair. He jumped off my back and helped save my people. What are these new feelings? Help me! It's fine. It's fine. We'll save that one for another day.
I then visited the High Crucible to commission the materials. After I'd explained my requirements, I was beset by volunteers insisting I allow them to help with the entire project.
Of course, everybody wants to be a part of it.
The usual reaction to someone forcing open a void gate is to run for the hills. Harnish academics certainly are a different breed.
They have a strong sense of YOLO
The
as a part of
alchemists
their
of old
personality.
were cut from a similar cloth. The unknown held no fear for them. Indeed, they were ever eager to seek new knowledge, regardless of the danger.
Why you sound like such a sad panda?
And were you not also fearless? Heedless even, in your determination?
I think maybe he's just worried it's gonna fail again, kind of thing. Or that he could get
My
hope
sire
up.
entered his dormancy before I was hatched. And so it was Ashdaya who kept my eggs safe and warm.
Oh no! Oh no! They're hurting me with dragon lore! I should have known they would weaponize this against me! Oh, baby! So she's like
Created a
sister
bond
mom.
between us. Even long after I learned to fend for myself, I rarely strayed from her side.
Oh. I wonder how literally you can take that with dragons. Like, the brooding process is actually like really like their ethereal resonance or something. Makes it so that they even have like a stronger bond. I don't know, but I love it. We know a little bit of lore from Dravania about brooding. If you've done some of the side quests and things that are around where oh my gosh, as always, my brain has completely eluded me to get the one name that I need of something in the moment. If you've been around a lot of the areas in Dravania and the tower where all the dragons are, you can do some side quests there that talk about the brooding process and that dragons like stay on their eggs at all times. I always assumed it might have been like a heat reason, but it'd be very interesting if it had something to do with like an additional bond or etheric bond or stuff like that.
She was my guardian, my sister, my dear companion. And not a single day passes that I do not mourn her absence. No matter how deep the darkness, I would not surrender my search. I promised myself the time would come when we would once more take to the skies together.
It's gonna happen!
But I am satrap now.
We're gonna do it for you! I love dragons just as much as you do! Maybe
The
more!
Radiant Host
you
is
are
here
a dragon!
to serve, Your Excellency.
The siren goes by.
Nabdeen, what is this about?
Everybody's here to help you because newsflash, Vrtra, siren-fueled newsflash. We love you. And your rhino snoot. And your good pure heart. And the fact that you pried scales off of your own beautiful body to try and save your people. As if we weren't gonna support you finding your sister that you love.
Celestinian told us of your predicament.
I also really love this though because of the poetry. I'm so sorry, I'm having a lot of dragon feelings right now. I also love this though for the poetry of the fact that in Ishgard, right, we had the death of a sister that led to Nidhogg's rage. Death at the hands of the Elezen, you know, of ancient times, right? And now, with all the reconciliation and the full circle and the symmetry, not only have I finally pulled Tiamat from her grief, but also to now say we're at a point where civilizations can live together, that those thoughts that the dragons had about war being the only outcome ever, right, were not right. And there is a place and a home for them here. And so to have a nation that was founded in peace with the dragon, even without realizing, right? And now that would help reclaim a sister that had been lost. That is some good poetic full circle stuff right there. And that's what Final Fantasy XIV is so good at. Honestly, they're so good at it. But I love this. She best not be dead, so help me.
For centuries you have protected Rads at Han, never showing your true self. Hiding behind a curtain and living only in service to the people. Your dedication meant more to us than your deceit, and so did we accept you as our rightful ruler.
You're the goodest
After all
boy.
that you have sacrificed for this nation, did you imagine we would begrudge you your heart's desire?
No, because they love you.
We survived the final days. We are a strong and proud people. We, the Radiant Host, will keep Thavnair safe in your absence.
Yeah, they will.
I am grateful for your loyalty and for your encouragement. And yet,
Now you listen to me, Vartan.
You listen here, you double dragon. You're gonna do this. You're gonna save your sister.
You are wearing that face, after all. As I have told you before, you are a little brother to us all.
No. Oh.
And if you are family, then so too is your sister. We are there for you if you need us. But do not ask us to sit by and watch while you abandon a sibling you have ached to rescue for millennia.
We gotta help you. For those we have lost, for those we can yet save, Varshan. We can save her. We best be able to save her. That's all I'm gonna say right here. I believe. I got faiths.
We will succeed in opening the way. It is only a matter of time. All you need do is prepare to step through to the other side.
So good. As the hopeful music plays. The hopeful music, TM.
Your Excellency, I wanted to thank you for building the orphanage. It means so much that my sister and I will have a place to be together, safe and happy.
This is 14 coming in for the kill. They're like, you thought you already had enough feels about the full circle nature of this, the poetry, the fact that all the people he supported for so long are here, we're panning across, and then Estinian's like, now it's time for me to bring in the real critical hit, the sad orphans. He brings them in and he's like, look at these sad orphans that are also siblings. They too are grateful to you. No, there's no way Varshan's gonna hold up to this. You can't bring in sad orphans and still maintain, you know what I mean? There's no way. He's gonna be like, all right, okay. You went hard on this. I agree, I'll go rescue my sister.
And I hope that you and your sister can be together again too.
It's okay, everybody learn stuff about each other. Caring for each other. Especially too because Estinian lost his whole family to dragons, and now look at him trying to help unite a dragon family. To protect them well, you must take heart.
Take heart and protect them well. Such were the words I once said to you. And here I stand, failing to live up to them.
Oh, and that's why he said that, because he lost the one he cared about.
If my heart is torn, I am fit to protect neither Ajdaya nor Radzatan.
That's right.
My people, I have come to a decision. Varshan will depart Thavne for a time.
Do it.
My dragon self will remain in the palace, but only to conduct the satrap's most essential duties.
Please nobody hurt him while he's in there. I imagine
While
his
I
consciousness
am
would still be
focused
there,
on
right?
controlling this vessel, there may be matters that escape my attention. I rely on you, my trusted friends, to watch over one another until I return.
You were long overdue for a vacay, bud. If you want to call this a vacay.
Brother. Many tears would be shed should you come to harm.
I would not dare make you cry.
Don't do it. Don't do it, ever. And yet I know this game's a filthy liar, and they will make us cry at any opportunity. They're probably gonna make us cry about him more at some point. That wasn't so much a promise, like a gentle promise. That was foreboding. Not foreboding. That was definitely a hint of things to come. I will not squander this chance you have given me. I will find Ajdaya. Nidhana. We'll have that Atomos built before you know it. When a project like this comes along, we give it our full and undivided attention. Sleep, ha! Who needs it? Oh, that reminds me. I really should finish that other project I was working on for His Excellency. Girl, what you working on for him? What? Someone needed to give that boy a good talking to. You don't suppose I'll be reprimanded, do you? I did just yell at the satrap. No, I think you're fine, bud. I think you're okay. Did I already talk to him? Yes, I did. Castinian. Convincing others to follow their hearts is not my forte. I would have gladly let our more philosophical comrades take the lead had they been here. Well, you did good, though. You brought sad orphans. No one can do more than that. Okay, same thing she just said. All right. Let's go talk to you, Shola. You surprise me, Estinian. For a lone wolf, you've shown an unusual degree of, shall we say, involvement in helping Vrtra reach this conclusion. 'Twas for the greater good. The worm's thundering sighs were keeping his citizens awake at night, and had travelers believing the palace racked by some unnatural storm. And I like him, and I don't want him to be sad. What of your own answer, then? You seemed disinclined to venture into the void. When I was one with Nidhogg, his vengeful thoughts were my thoughts, his endless rage my rage, and the soul-chilling grief he nursed for Ratatoska's death. There's that full circle! I would not wish such agony upon a foe, let alone a friend and ally. If there is a chance we can spare Vrtra that pain, then I will follow you. I mean, the four of us is the light party, so I don't think there's anybody else that we need, you know what I mean? An unusual crew we have here. Indeed, but perfect for our purpose, I should think. I'd rather not bother the Scions who thought less than a dire threat to the star. Now, on to specifics. Unlike the first, where the flood of light was halted before its devastation was complete, the 13th has been utterly subsumed by darkness. My plan, as such, is to explore the void in stages, withdrawing to safety after each brief foray. 'Twould be more convenient had we some manner of base camp nearer to the gate itself. One of the palace chambers should serve. Come, let us reconvene outside Megaduta.